Andrea. Thanks so much for coming over to the office today to talk with us for Human Intelligence. So I was thinking about what we could start off with, and so I'm envisioning a performance, and I have a couple of options, and I have to choose between one or the other. One would just be a singer up on stage, not really moving or singing a lot of different notes, kind of monotone, or I have the opportunity to go to a really dynamic concert with costume changes, choreography, backup singers, and maybe even a marching band.
Okay, so that sounds like Beyonce at Coachella, the latter option. Give me Beyonce any day. Love it. So good. So let me turn the tables. It was just Mother's Day a couple weeks ago. You're a mom. What if I said to you, let's talk about my mom, and I'm going to describe her as smart and capable and independent, all of which is true. Or I said, I'm going to tell you a story about when I was 5 and this crazy thing happened and it totally defined my childhood and my mother's role in it. What do you want?
I'm on the edge of my seat. I want to hear that story. So, you're going to have to talk to me after this and tell
will.
me more about your mom and what happened when you were 5 years old. So really what you're describing is the difference between just, using adjectives to tell me about your mother versus using a story to really illustrate what kind of mom she is, what your childhood was like. And I think I'm really more excited about hearing that story than I am just hearing a description of your mom. So why is storytelling such an effective communication tool?
It's really the most effective communication tool that we have. A good story has drama to it. It makes you laugh or cry or think. And so all of those aspects capture attention, which is the idea, right? I mean, we don't want to tell a story and have no one listen and have it fall on deaf ears.
Right, and I think with the story you get a little bit more engaged, right?
Yeah.
You're excited to hear what the outcome is.
And it brings out the human element. So we all have a story to tell. I mean, I encourage everyone to think about your own story. I guarantee you didn't just happen into your field. You didn't get here because you're really lazy and you put together a mediocre team and you caught a couple of lucky breaks. There's a story, like you discovered your passion. You found what motivates you, and you worked really hard. So when you can find that story and learn to tell it for yourself, then you can turn around and tell it to your audience and engage people in on a human level. Because sometimes in business, it's like we take the human element out of it, and we're not robots. I mean, there are people on the other side of these computer screens, and there are people making our iPhones and our shoes and our food, and we need to connect on a human level.
Right. And I think that, we can see ourselves sometimes in the stories, which help us connect. So why do you think talk a little bit about storytelling mattering in business, and how do businesses use storytelling?
Well, so first of all, it's important to use storytelling to control your narrative. I mean, sometimes people think, oh, I'm not in a creative field, so I don't need to tell a story. But if you don't tell your story, your competitor might, your client or potential client might jump to conclusions and think they know your story when they're really just making assumptions. So on a really basic level, it's important that you control that. Also, this is a digital world. All we do all day, you and I are content creators, but all of us all day, all we do is consume content. We're scrolling on Facebook, we're scrolling in a news app, we're scrolling through email, that's content. And what content jumps out at you? The people who kind of win this game of the content wars are the people whose content resonates. And that is all storytelling.
Right. So before you started your business, you were a journalist, a professional storyteller. How does that impact your work with businesses now?
Yes, and you used to pitch me all the time.
I did when you were at the magazine, and I would always use storytelling as an effective way to pitch so that I got you engaged and you wanted to learn more.
Yeah, there's really a sales element to all this, right? Like all day as a journalist, people would pitch me, and it was who sold me the best, who did the best job. And so I would get calls, it's like, which pitch would you go with, right? If someone called and said, I had a near-death experience last month, and it's totally changed the way I'm thinking about life and the way I'm living my life, and I think I should share that with your audience. Or if someone called and said, I won an award last week, and it was presented to me at a luncheon within my industry, and do you want to write about it? It's like, which one of those is a better story? What
I want to
has
be
drama?
inspired.
Right.
Right? I want to be inspired by the person who had the near-death experience. I don't really want to hear about someone who won an award unless I can learn more about the story behind the award.
Right, and then there's different levels of packaging. Like if there were a story about the award, it'd probably be shorter because it's like there's not that much to say. You don't have the life and death drama within that story. So what I do now with clients is we have really some raw and honest conversations to get to the heart of their story. And sometimes you have to take a good hard look in the mirror because people think, oh, I've been doing this for 10 years. That's my story. It's like, next month I'm hitting my 10-mark milestone. Well, do people care about that? You have to kind of ask the tough question.
Right.
It's so hard to get someone's attention. For a business or someone who provides services to ask for 10 seconds of your time, it's kind of a big ask in today's day and age. I mean, we're cutting through all the notifications, all the apps, all the email, all the texts. So you have to really figure out a compelling story, and it takes some scrutiny to get there.
Right. So what tips do you have for us?
Yeah.
How can we become better storytellers?
Yeah. So I would say first and foremost, incorporate storytelling everywhere. So if you're giving a presentation, in your email, your website copy, your social media feeds, printed marketing materials, a marketing video, a Facebook Live video, hello, incorporate it everywhere. And you really want to show and not tell. So don't put on your website, clients love us and they come back to us again and again. Like, have the client write a testimonial that really weaves a tale of how you helped them.
Or a case study. That's sort of a classic business telling example where you're showing someone maybe the value of your solution or the value of your services through the success that one of your clients had.
Right. And you really want to be specific and paint a picture. Make people feel like they're there. They're in the room. They were right there when the event happened. Paint a really vivid picture. At the same time, and it's going to sound like these tips are a little bit at odds, but it works. You be short. We've all been in a situation where someone's telling us a long story and we feel like we're kind of prisoners and we're like, when are they going to get to the point? So Twitter is an effective, Twitter's actually made me a better writer because you have to tell a story in a few characters. So you can do it. You can do it. Another tip would be it can't be one-sided. So it's all about engagement. 1 million Facebook followers, that means nothing if people don't get to participate and engage. So share your story and then invite others to do the same.
I think we have time for one quick last tip.
Oh, well, this is one of my favorites. So ask yourself who your heroes are. Who do you look to for storytelling? Maybe it's a competitor who's driving you crazy because they do such a good job. Maybe it's Oprah. Maybe it's someone who gave a great TED Talk.
Sure.
But what did they do? Imitation is the highest form of flattery, so do what they do and it'll be effective.
Right, so learn from the best, and we had one of the best here today. Thank you so much for coming. I hope everyone will tune in for more segments from our Human Intelligence series.